What's up? So in this video I would like to speak to you about Kratom. I have made several videos on this channel about Kratom in the past. Unfortunately, the majority of the videos I have made on this channel is reviews for Kratom and or talking about the benefits of it and how it can be used for good things. In these videos I did, however, I believe in every video I've ever made on any substance, I have always used the disclaimer of use in moderation, and you can judge when to stop or start. Kratom is addictive. I always said that. Now I've been off Kratom for a while. I'm trying to give you an exact time frame here. I'm going to say at least 6 months. At least 6 months. I think it may actually be like 7 months, but it's for sure 6 months. And kind of what my experience with it was while doing it, my experience with it coming off, and then now looking back at it. So when I first started taking Kratom, I started taking it because I was coming off of, long story short here, if you're not familiar, is I was in a car accident at the age of 15. I was put on pain pills, got addicted to pain pills, and then later on was given more, and then up the dose. The doctor that I was going to, their whole doctor's office got raided because like prescription fraud, overriding, like insurance fraud, overriding prescriptions. Like my whole medical record pretty much disappeared. And a lot of people's did as well during this. It's crazy looking back. At the time, I didn't think anything of it. That's how hopelessly addicted I was. And I will tell you how I knew I was addicted to pain pills. When I started waking up and feeling like complete and utter crap, and I was like depressed and down and out and sad and didn't know why. And then every time I took one of those pills, I would feel normal and okay. That's when I should have known I was. But at the time I was a teenager. I had no experience with addiction. I had no one in my life really that could help me with addiction in that manner. And the people that did try to help me, they didn't do it in a good way. And I'm not nitpicking or talking about them in any negative manner. But they just didn't know how to help. Meaning that they were being extremely cruel or like pushing me 1 minute, and the next minute it was like being babied. And I needed what I try to do to you guys, be like a loving mentor, but also hit you with some truth. You know what I mean? That's what I needed. I needed someone to put their arm around me and hug me, tell me they love me, but say, hey, dude, you're really messing your life up doing this. Like, this is what's going to happen. That's what I needed. I didn't get that, though. And again, I'm not blaming anyone. It doesn't matter about a doctor writing a prescription. I put it in my body. I kept putting, I'm not putting blame on other people for my life. So, again, long story that wasn't that short. When that happened, I got recommended to be put on Suboxone. Like, they started tapering me off pain pills. They said that I really didn't need them like that. And they recommended that I go be on Suboxone. So I go get on Suboxone. I'm on that for a decade. And decided I cut myself down to a very low dose. Decided I was done with it. And stopped. Completely cold turkey. Stopped Suboxone. Now I made it about 5 days into this. When I say I stopped cold turkey, I mean, dude, I literally stopped taking Suboxone cold turkey. And I went 5 days. I believe the only thing I used during these 5 days that helped, or that could help a little, was THC. And if I'm not mistaken, I wasn't even using that at the time because I got on this whole straight edge kick and I wanted to kick it. which was not hilarious, but which sucked because later on, like, it doesn't matter. So I made it about 5 days into it, and it got bad. Like, it got really bad. One of my friends gave me some Xanaxes to take because it was like, my whole thing was my heart was pounding out of my chest. My legs were killing me. I could not sleep. I was miserable, dude. I was miserable. Like, it was bad. I'd taken Xanaxes. They really wasn't helping. Again, not the smartest thing in the world, but I started, like, drinking a couple mixed drinks in the night to try to help me sleep. And then I was told about Kratom. So I went to this little gas station down the street from me. And this is about a week into it at this point. And when I say I took Xanaxes and drank, that was like, I'm talking about maybe 1 or 2 nights of me taking a couple of Xanaxes and having a couple drinks to try to go to sleep. Which, again, was messing with me. So I got the Kratom, and I took this Kratom, instantly felt normal. Instantly. And I was like, oh man, there's something with this. So my original goal or plan was to just get on the Kratom until maybe for 30 days and then stop it. You know, like, not take a lot of it. Just take it to subside the effects of this and then get off of that. However, the feelings that this Kratom gave me, I can only, at the beginning, let me rephrase this and put this to you. I was getting good quality Kratom from a reputable source. Not after I went to the gas station and it helped, I started moving on to actual botanical shops and finding out the best places to get it. So I was getting good quality Kratom. The issue was I started taking more because of the effects it had on me in the beginning. The effects it had on me in the beginning was comparable to, I would say, mixing cocaine with a pain pill. And you just had this ridiculous euphoria and energy come over you. The issue is, that does not last, especially if you're taking it daily, and especially if you're not taking, like, breaks, like, throughout the week, like, at least a couple days. And depending on how many times you're taking it throughout the day, that goes away quick. So then you take more and more, and then you start getting nauseous and all this stuff. So throughout this period of Kratom, of me taking Kratom, I took it for about, I'm going to say I took it for 3 years. I took it for 3 years, and it was varying degrees. Like, there would be periods to where I could get like 3 ounces of Kratom, like a 3-ounce pack, and that would last me like a week, like 5 days to a week, 3 ounces. And then there was times to where I was going through 3 ounces of Kratom in a day. And there was times to where I was taking 3 shots of Kratom a day, plus the ounce or 2 of Kratom a day. I think at the peak of it, I was taking 1 shot a day, one of those sticks, the powdered extract sticks. And then I was taking gummies. I was taking a bunch of it. Like, it got to almost a drug habit, meaning that, like, I was spending $40 a day on this. And that's crazy. Like, I was spending $15 for a shot. I was spending $11 to $15 for I can't remember the prices now, but it was like $11 to $20 for a pack of Kratom, depending on if I was getting an ounce or 3 ounces. And it was bad, dude. Like, really think about this. So they had this deal where you could get like 2 or 3 sticks for X amount of dollars. I genuinely can't remember now. But I was literally spending between, I'm going to say, $20 to $60 a day on this shit every day. And I realized the money factor, and I realized that it was messing with me. And what I mean by messing with me was, like, it brought on ADHD and OCD symptoms, I guess you could say, or it exacerbated it. Meaning, like, if you already have a touch of it, it may exacerbate it, or it may present symptoms if you don't have it, like symptoms of that. So I was having issues sleeping. I was getting really irritable around people. I was having issues with my eyes. Like, my eyes were hurting. Sometimes I was having, like, this weird stuff in my head going on. And I don't even really know or remember, or I don't know when it came to a point where I was like, I'm done with this. I do know I talked about it for a long time, about tapering off or quitting. But it was just like, I don't even know, really. But it was just like, I remember one day being like, I can't keep doing this. And then me seeing how inconsistent it was. Meaning, like, one day I could do a shot and then take, 2 or 3 teaspoons throughout the day and feel fine. And then the next day I would have to have like 3 shots and take 10 teaspoons throughout the day. And even within, it was like I was feeling horrible. So that within itself, and then just pulling the trigger. And what's crazy is, listen, I'm mainly going to talk about the things that I've seen now that I've been off of it for this amount of time. And I do want to put this in there with this, because I could tell you about the coming off of it thing. But listen, dude, I was going through a divorce. I was getting out of a very toxic relationship, and I'm not putting the blame on that person. It takes 2 people to tango. Not putting the blame on them. I was getting out of a toxic relationship, a marriage. I was having issues. I had lost people in my life very close to me. I was having a lot of issues, put it that way. And I do think that played a factor into some of the difficulties I had coming off of it. It wasn't horrible. It wasn't like the Suboxone, but it was not pleasant. I will link a video to a guy named Kratom Keith. I just stumbled across his channel. He can detail that out a lot better than me. So what I want to do, though, is now, 6 months after the fact, looking at what this really did to me. So during this time, I took it for about 3 years. And just so coincidentally, it was the worst 3 years of my life when I was taking it. And it shouldn't have been. Like, looking back at it, that should have been one of the best periods of my life. However, I was confused. I had constant brain fog. And in my mind, I thought that it was just because I was coming off the Suboxone. And then I thought, well, maybe. I was like, well, this has been a very long period of time. And then I thought that, I'm not sure if you're religious or spiritual if you're watching this, but, like, I truly believe within my heart that there is an awakening of mankind going on right now. And I thought and I do think that all these contributed. So I truly just believe that me getting off the Kratom, the Suboxone was doing that, plus this awakening that was going on, plus it was peak COVID. It was all this stuff going on. And again, put on top of that personal things within my life, my mother, my aunt, just certain things going on. And I think it made it worse than it was. However, I do want to tell you that looking back on it, during that period of time, I was irritable with people. It was like I was in a bad dream. Listen to me very carefully. It was like I was in a bad dream with the Kratom. It's almost a dissociative to a degree. Meaning I felt so dissociated with reality that the way I was looking at reality was so crazy. And I'm not saying that I was crazy at the time. It was just like I was really looking at myself in reality in a crazy way. That's the main thing. This seemed like a bad dream. The other thing is, time was so weird with this stuff. Meaning that, like, months would go by in my life, and I wouldn't have known it. Like, a month seemed like it went by in the blink of an eye. And then I had no memory or recollection of this hardly at all. And it was almost like I was not in control of me. It was almost like I was observing myself. And it wasn't even myself. It was like I was observing a... It was almost like I was observing a part of myself that wasn't me, but it was the opposite version of me doing things. And I know how crazy that sounds, but that is my experience with it. And especially now looking back at it, I can see that all the issues that this really caused with me. The lack of sleep was horrible. The mental health issues that came along with that in itself was horrible. It was almost like my mind was on overdrive all the time. So now that I've came off this stuff, again, it's been about 6 months, or maybe longer. I've been off of that. I've dealt with some things in my life. I went to therapist. I went to counseling. I have healed certain things from my past, forgiven myself and other people. So I can look back and see this clearly that, like, dude, Kratom is very dangerous. I'm not going to sit here and condemn Kratom and say, oh, it needs to be illegal and I had a bad experience with it, so you can't have a good experience. Listen, I don't know. I'm not saying that Kratom cannot be used beneficially. Because that's crazy. I do believe if you can keep it down to 2 or 3 times a week, and you only take small doses of it, then it may benefit you and it may help you depending on what you need it for. There's a lot of uses for it. Pain management. You could use it, again, to coming off other medications, as long as you're understanding that, hey, I just need to take this to get over the withdrawal and then stop it. Energy, etc. There's things that it can be used for properly. However, the information is not out there, and it seems that, like, anyone that talks negatively about Kratom, there is a group of individuals. I used to be part of it, by the way. It's natural. This is BS. This is propaganda from Big Pharma. It's like, no, dude. Big Pharma is not paying me. You can go back and watch my videos. I advocate for psychedelics. I advocate for cannabis. And I'm not condemning Kratom. I'm not doing it. However, I do want to say that it is extremely dangerous. I do want to say that it can be addictive. I do want to say that you need to watch where you're getting it from. I do want to say that you probably should not take it daily. I do want to say that do not move the concentrate. I do want to say to be honest with yourself. And I'm not making this video to condemn Kratom. I'm not making this video to do anything but put this information out there. And put this stuff out there, because I do not think enough people talk about this, because so many people are pushing towards legalization of certain things, which is fine. I am too. I was too. I live in Virginia. A lot of things are legal here. But when it comes to stuff like Kratom, and it comes to stuff like Delta 8, and it comes to stuff like THCO, and it comes to stuff like Delta 10 and all this stuff, they are harmful. They can cause issues. And I've laid them out. The Delta 8 and the Delta 8 and the 10 and all this stuff can cause issues. And, like, I can give you a brief example, but if you're waking up and you're smoking a cart of Delta 8 or Delta whatever daily, and that's the first thing you do is you hit this cart when you wake up. And I've seen these Delta 8 carts and Delta 10 carts and stuff bring upon almost the same thing I just said with the Kratom. It brings on symptoms. It's almost like it does something to you mentally, and it puts you into a dark corner. And that, again, that's all I'm trying to do with this video is, if you think you need Kratom, you think Kratom would benefit you, take it. But keep it in your mind what could happen. That's my main point of this video, is harm reduction. So, I probably will and may make more videos on this subject and some substances, because I have been a big proponent in the past of substances. I've defended them, but like I need to be honest and objective with things, and I can't do that if I'm like I was in the day. So you probably will see me making what I would like to call honest feedback. I will tell you the good and the bad. I'm not looking at it, I'm not judging it, I'm just telling you my experience with it. And that's with psychedelics, cannabis, the many forms of it. Love you guys. It's a game of form and the play of life. And this is what we do.